Today, today's today's teaching is the conquest era, Joshua. The days were dark indeed for Great Britain in 1940. The British people were at war with Germany and were being pressed hard on every side by the Nazi military machine. Supplies and morale were low, their national destiny being in the balance, hung in the balance. Then a new Prime Minister came on the scene, Winston Churchill, whom history judges to be one of the greatest leaders of modern times. He was a man of intense conviction, deep resolve and unquenchable optimism. His speeches, which historians consider to be among the finest ever given, burst upon the world with sudden and magnificent power. From then, we read, to form an administration of this scale and complexity is a serious undertaking in itself, but it must be remembered that we are in the preliminary stage of one of the greatest battles in history, that we are in action at many points in Norway and in Holland, that we have to be prepared in the Mediterranean, that the air bustle is continuous, and that many preparations have to be made here at home. I would say to the House, as I said to those who have joined this government, I have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears and sweat. You ask what is our policy, I will say it is to wage war by sea, land and air with all our might and with all the strength. That God can give us to wage war against a monstrous tyranny never surpassed in the dark, lamentable catalogue of human crime. That is our policy. You ask what is our aim, I can answer it is a word: victory. Victory at all costs, victory in spite of all the terror, victory however long and hard the road may be, for without victory there is no survival. I have myself full confidence that if all do their duty, if nothing is neglected, and if the best arrangements are made as they are being made, we shall prove ourselves once again able to defend our island home, to ride out the storm of war and to outlive the menace of tyranny. Even though large tracts of Europe and many old and famous states have fallen in, or may fall into the grip of the Gestapo and all the odious apparatus of Nazi rule. We shall not flag or fail. We shall go on to the end. We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the sea and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches, we shall fight on the landing grounds, we shall fight in the fields and in the streets, we shall fight in the hills, we shall never surrender. While the circumstances were different for Churchill and England than for the timelines after the Exodus, in both situations, the situation was perilous for the respective nations. The Israelites had wandered in the wilderness for 40 years because of rebellion and unbelief at Kadesh Barnea. Now they were at Jericho, and the rest was the same as it was at Kadesh Barnea. Would they resolve to forge ahead, or would they think from the circumstances that their fathers had done? The task of rallying and leading the people fell to Joshua. Moses, the great leader of the last 40 years, was dead, would the people galvanise behind Joshua, or would they refuse his leadership? Just as England faced a crossroads when Churchill became the leader, so also the timelines faced a critical junction in the road. Now let's review. Repetition is the key to the mental ownership. Fill in the blanks to bring the chart up to date with this era. To check your answers on the appendix. We have the story of the Old Testament and the era, the figure, the location. The first storyline summary is Adam is created by God, but he, fill in the blank, and fill in the blank, God's original, fill in the blank, for man. Secondly, fill in your era, figure and location for the storyline summary of Abraham is fill in the blank by God to father a fill in the blank to fill in the blank God to the world. And lastly, the era, the figure and the location through Moses, God, fill in the blank, the Hebrew people from fill in the blank in Egypt, and then gives them the fill in the blank. The era, the figure and the location and your storyline summary to be completed in this chapter. The storyline summary, Joshua leads the conquest of the promised land. The era is the conquest. The Joshua leads the blank of the blank, blank. Fill in the blanks. Now, the expansion, there are 4 main events in the conquest era. 1, Joshua, 2, Jericho, 3, conquest, and 4, dominion. Firstly, Jordan, a miraculous parting of water, Joshua 1-5. Moses dies and God handpicks Joshua to succeed him. Joshua's first challenge is to cross the Jordan River at flood stage. God commands him to prepare the nation for a ceremonial procession and to begin walking priests first towards the Jordan River. When the priests touch water, God would part the water for them. This is the second miraculous pursuing of water that God's performed to Israel. The first was the parting of the Red Sea. The people respond and God parts the Jordan River for a distance of about 20 miles. They cross without incident and the water begins flowing again. Secondly, Jericho, a miraculous conquest of a city, Joshua 6. The city of Jericho, a small oasis on the west side of the Jordan River near the Dead Sea, is not only the eastern gateway to the promised land, but it is also a fortified city and poses a threat to the welfare of Israel. As Joshua stands overlooking the city, contemplating how to conquer it, the angel of the Lord appears to him and instructs him to march around the city once a day for 7 days. On the 7th day, he is to march around it 7 times, and the people are to shout. The city wall will fall down. They do, and it does, a miraculous conquest of a day. Thirdly, the conquest, the defeat of Canaan, Joshua 7-12. The Canaanites are united in their fear and hatred of the Israelites, but run in their military opposition to them. Primarily, the region is characterised by the individual listings, the individual kings, each with this one city and surrounding country. Joshua cuts through the midsection toward the Mediterranean Sea. Having divided the land, he then begins to conquer from such south to north. In about 7 years, the initial defeat of Canaan is complete. And fourthly, the dominion, finalising the dominion, Joshua 13-20. Each of the 12 tribes of Israel is given a land area by lottery and is responsible for finalising dominion over that area. All 12 tribes inhabit their areas and form a loose federation with the other tribes. Now let's do a self-test. What you learn tomorrow is built on what you learn today. And the 4 major events in the conquest era. Write the correct number at the blank from the options on the right. The event is Jordan. Which number is that? The description is the defeat of Canaan. The Jericho. Which number is it? A miraculous parting of water. And the conquest event. Which number is it? Finalising the dominion. Give the event of the dominion's number, and it's a miraculous conquest of a city. The storyline summary of the era, the conquest, the summary is Joshua leads the blank of the blank blank. Now the arc of the Bible history. The geography of the conquest era. Draw an arrow from Jericho across to the Mediterranean Sea, then draw an arrow into the southern half of the land. Now draw an arrow into the northern half of the land. This represents the geographical movements of the conquest era. Now lastly, the story of the Old Testament. Fill in the era, the figure and the location. The storyline summary is Adam was created by God, but he blank and blank God's original blank for man. Secondly, fill in the era, the figure and the location. Abraham is blank by God to father a blank to blank God to the world. And thirdly, the era, the figure and the location. Through Moses, God blank the Hebrew people from blank in Egypt and then gives them the blank. Now the era, the figure and the location. Joshua leads the blank of the blank blank. And that's all for today. Thank you.